We're going to get started as we're letting folks in. I know you all are transitioning from class, so it'll be a little slow start here. So thank you so much for joining us during your U hour for an inside look at LASAN. We're so happy you could be here. This Inside Look series is a part of a Dean's Leadership Initiative where we're giving you the opportunity to see the culture and environment at some of our top industry partners' places of business. So it gives you kind of an inside look. You get to ask questions and you get to learn a little bit more about, what you could be doing once you graduate. So I would like to welcome you and thank you again for joining us. As a reminder, we want this to be as interactive as possible. So please feel free to turn on your videos. We'd love to see your faces. And also, we would love to interact with you in the chat. There is going to be an opportunity for Q&A at the end of the session. So we encourage you, if you have questions as we're going along, please put the questions in the chat box and we will moderate those and get to them at the end. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Enrique Zaldivar from LA Sanitation and Environment.
Thank you, Chelsea. And welcome, future engineers. Due to the pandemic, I know you can't come to us, so I'm bringing LASAN to you. I wish I could be there in person to walk across our beautiful campus of my alma mater and relive my college days. But you will have to enjoy the views for me when you return to the campus yourself. Today, my team and I are here to explain what it's like to be an engineer at LASAN, LA Sanitation and Environment, LASAN for short, and what we're working on currently. Our mission is to protect public health and the environment. We do this through five main programs. Solid Resources includes all of the services for the collection and proper management of solid waste, recycling strategies, organic programs, clean fuel, food waste reduction, and more. But all of it is anchored on a zero waste and resource recovery ethic. Watershed protection, flood control, pollution elimination mandates, regulatory compliance, management of green infrastructure, and ecosystem restoration, and far more. Clean water is the management, operation, and maintenance of LASAN's 4 water reclamation plants and the 6,800-mile sewer and storm drain systems, conveyance systems, serving over 4 million residents and 29 contract agencies, all with a new focus on recycled water and the development of local water supplies. Our Livability Services program, a fairly new program, deals with the services to remove illegal dumping, maintenance of over 5,000 public receptacles, mobile hygiene units, and the management of LASAN's care services, which is the provision of services for the unsheltered communities, and far more. And then we have many specialty programs: brownfields remediation, biodiversity, climate action, healthy soils, green businesses certification, and much more. Regardless of what we're working on, our programs are built upon priorities of sustainability, equity, and environmental justice. You'll hear today from our Chief Sustainability Officer and Chief Equity Officer about our culture of inclusion, equity, and diversity, as well as some of our sustainability goals, which the mayor refers to them as big, hairy, audacious goals. Our Chief Operating Officer, a proud Bronco, I will add, is prepared to explain the city's internationally recognized goal of using 100% of our recycled water by 2035. It's going to require some engineering innovation for sure, at our Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, which is one of the largest and the largest west of the Mississippi, the 7th largest in the world. But we're up to the challenge. We'll also tell you about our Safe Clean Water program and our Low Impact Development Initiative. I'm sure some of you are studying that topic now. Michael Scaduro, also a proud Bronco, and Eileen will have the honors to tell you about that program. And finally, our Government Affairs Liaison, Blanca, also a Bronco, will share some of her experiences since coming to work for us from Cal Poly Pomona. You'll see that our engineers are not just sitting behind desks all day, every day. Our campus is the entire city of Los Angeles, and we're always on the move. Don't worry, we know you sit through a lot of presentations for class, so today we're mostly going to be doing the talking. And before, I should say, we're going to be doing two-way talking. And before we leave, we'll give you some time to ask questions. You see, working at LASAN, serving residents and businesses, helping Mayor Garcetti and Council President Nuri Martinez and the entire City Council, it's all very inspiring and rewarding. As the state and the city continue to reopen, as we put behind us this horrific pandemic, I expect LASAN to start hiring engineers very soon again. At the end of our time together, I think you'll have a whole new appreciation and excitement for LASAN as your future employer. I will see you at the end of the program, but for now, let me turn it over to Chelsea and Pam.
Thank you, Enrique. Before we move forward, I'm Pam Perez. I'm the marketing manager for LASAN. I'd like to put up a quick poll. Chelsea, if you don't mind. We just kind of want to see who we're talking with here today. Looks like we've got a pretty even mix. Okay, I think we've got the bulk of the answers here, so that's incredibly helpful. Thank you, Chelsea. And next up, we have a video for you. Our Chief Sustainability Officer, Doug Walters, was unfortunately not available today due to a prior commitment, so he and our Chief Equity Officer, Adrian Murphy, took the time to record this brief video for you about our sustainability and diversity efforts.
Hi, I'm Adrian Murphy, and I'm the Chief Racial Equity Officer for LA Sanitation and Environment.
Hey, Adrian, good to see you again. I'm Doug Walters, the Chief Sustainability Officer with LA Sanitation and the Environment.
Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope all is well. It's been a little while since I've seen you last.
I know. It's been a time. It's been a while. I miss seeing everybody in person.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, sanitation is an exciting and an amazing place to work. Don't you think?
It is incredible. I've spent my entire career here and just have loved every day of it. We do so many things. As an engineer myself, there's 14 different divisions and programs you can work within. And right now our focus has been largely on combating the climate crisis in a variety of ways.
I can imagine. I can imagine. You know, LASAN is one of the largest utilities, and we protect public health and the environment. And we do that by providing services to over 4 million Angelenos.
Yeah.
And also to businesses and tourists that come and visit us as well.
Yes, absolutely. Tell me more about your work and what you do as our Chief Racial Equity Officer, Adrian.
Well, what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that we are racially diverse and gender diverse on all levels of our organization, and we want to make sure that our diversity in LA Sanitation represents the communities that we serve. And so with doing that, we're keeping in line with the mayor's executive directives regarding gender and racial equity. There are action plans that we have to do and update periodically. There's implicit bias training that we all have to do to make sure that we understand what it means to be a diverse workforce, and then some of the implicit thoughts that we might have that we might not be aware of. And so we're working on that because we want to make sure that our organization is representative of the communities that we serve and that we're diverse on all levels of our organization, including our engineering series. And so with that, we try to make sure that we find the best and the brightest engineers out there to help us push our projects forward.
That's really important. I do a lot of recruiting of engineers graduating from college, and the diversity is so important because we want to mirror the communities that we serve, right? All the cultures, right. Different languages spoken here in Los Angeles, and it extends beyond the local universities. We sometimes go out of state to recruit those bright engineers as well.
Yeah, sometimes we have to. Sometimes we have to go to where they are.
That's right. That's right.
So tell me a little bit about some of the things that you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, the climate crisis, as I mentioned, is a huge deal. Our mayor has laid down the law, so to speak, to make sure that we become a zero waste city, as well as a zero wasted water city. And so on the water side, we are knee deep, no pun intended, in making sure that we, capture, treat, and reuse the stormwater and the urban runoff that comes here. We have here in Los Angeles. We have two separate systems. The sewer system, unlike other large American cities, is separate than the stormwater system. So we have to develop a lot of infiltration projects. So we're looking both at the water quality as well as the water quantity. And we also develop a lot of multiple benefits along there. We're opening up green space and creating places where habitat can thrive and survive here in our very arid climate.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. You mentioned something about zero waste. So what are we doing with zero waste?
Yes, well, we are diverting all of our waste from landfills. We've got a 90% diversion requirement by 2025 and hopefully 100% by 2035. So we're going to need a lot of talented engineers to help us with various innovations to get there. We're looking at eliminating all organic waste as well by 2028. That's really important. That's a lot of the green waste and the food waste, right? And of course, helping people with rescuing food and working with some nonprofit organizations that we do a lot of, as well as the high-tech operations of pulling energy from that food waste.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that sounds amazing.
It is. And do you know why 2028 is important?
The Olympics. Isn't the Olympics coming to LA?
That is right. LA is going to be the first city to host the Olympics 3 times and really showcase, all the great things happening here. As I mentioned, all of the great weather that we have, and hopefully all of our river, lakes, and beaches will be clean. We'll be showcasing our biodiversity, as well as just the first zero waste games in the history of the Olympiad is something I'm excited to be working on.
Me too. I cannot wait for the Olympics to come back to LA.
Yeah, and the Paralympic Games. And the
Paralympic, yes, please forgive me. Right. And the Paralympic Games as well. Yeah. So was there something going on with the straws? So we're no longer able to have straws. They're only available upon request?
That's true. Yes, a little over a year ago, we imposed that request only, and moving away from trying to have so much plastic in our environment, which contributes greenhouse gases as they're produced, and also dangers a lot of animals that come in contact as much of the plastic in our environment gets out to the oceans, unfortunately. So expanding upon that is the requirement to only offer upon request plastic utensils and cup lids napkins, and those plastic envelopes that condiments come in. So that's in the works. Because we can all, as individuals, do our part. You don't have to rely on large institutions. We need to all, encourage positive behavior, within ourselves, our families, and our neighbors.
Wow, that's incredible. Sanitation really is an awesome place to work, and it's the best place I've ever worked, I must say. So with that, it was really great chatting with you and seeing you. It's been a long time since we've seen each other in person.
I know. I can't wait to get all back into our workplaces and see each other and enjoy each other's company. And I love all the collaboration that we're doing. So I hope many of you get to consider joining us.
Of course, I hope so too. Well, you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy and be safe. Stay safe.
Thanks, Adrienne.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun. Again, Adrienne and Doug, Doug sends his apologies that he can't be here today. Chief Sustainability Officers are in very high demand on Earth Day. So he sends his regrets, but Adrienne is here to answer some questions toward the end, and of course our staff will stay. Before we get going on our next portion, I'd like Chelsea, if you don't mind, to put up our next poll for us. Enrique talked about our core programs, and I'd like to see where your interest lies. Got a lot of clean water folks here. That means you're going to like our next segment. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for sharing that with us. We're keeping close track of this. We have 45 people who we expect to be sending in applications to work in clean water at LASAN. Okay, so what I'd like to do next is have Chelsea and Mac roll the video of our membrane bioreactor program, pilot program.
Hello everyone, my name is Kimia Nader Tehrani, and I'm one of the project engineers on the Membrane Bioreactor Pilot Facility project. I'm going to give you a short overview of Hyperion, our project, and Hyperion's 100% water recycling goals. We're standing here at the Headworks facility, which is where Hyperion receives an average of 260 million gallons per day of wastewater. By 2035, we hope to produce up to 170 mgd of new recycled water, which can help offset up to about 40% of the total potable water use in LA. The MBR pilot study will be very important in helping us select the advanced treatment technologies that can produce safe and reliable recycled water. Okay, let's go. Now, we're standing next to the primary basins, which is the first step in treating wastewater at Hyperion. Primary treatment can remove 70 to 75% of the solids in wastewater, as well as about 50 to 55% of the organic material. So this is a really important step in the overall process, and one that we plan to keep when Hyperion becomes a 100% water recycling facility. Now, let's go to the intermediate pumping station. We're now at the intermediate pumping station, or IPS, which is where the wastewater is lifted from the primary treatment section to the secondary treatment section. This is also where we'll be collecting the water to feed our MBR pilot facility. The capacity of our facility is just 1 million gallons per day, so we just need a small pump and a pipeline to take the water to our next stop, the future MBR pilot facility site. Even though there's not much to see yet, this is the location for the future MBR pilot facility project. We're going to be testing the membrane separation systems from 3 different suppliers. We'll also be sharing the results of our study with the state's Department of Drinking Water, since we'll be needing regulatory approval for the use of MBR systems for the production of recycled water in 2035. Now, we're standing in front of our secondary treatment system with the oxygen bioreactors and the clarifiers. take a good look now, because by 2035, this will all be gone as we transform Hyperion to a 100% water recycling facility. Thank you for joining me on this short tour. LA Sanitation and Environment, together with the Department of Water and Power and West Basin Municipal Water District, are working hard towards making water recycling a reality. Although 2035 may seem far away, the MBR pilot project is a critical first step in getting us there.
So I know that's not quite a substitute for being able to walk around at Hyperion and take your own tour in person, but this is about as close as we can get for now. Thanks for bearing with us. It's my pleasure to introduce our Chief Operating Officer, Tracy Minamidi. She is a Cal Poly Pomona grad and oversees our 4 water reclamation plants, as well as many other projects. And she's going to talk to you about our incredible recycled water goals. Tracy?
All right, thank you, Pam. Hello, everybody. So good to see all of you Cal Poly students. Happy Earth Day. Today, if you didn't know that, is Earth Day. We had some great coverage on our water recycling program on the Today Show this morning, with additional coverage happening later this evening. So thank you, Pam, for helping us get through all of that. It was many, many days of filming with Jacob Soberoff, who has been such a fantastic supporter of recycled water. If you have a chance to catch what's on MSNBC this evening at 5:30, there'll actually be some taste testing of the advanced water that we produce through LA Sanitation in the city of Los Angeles. So maybe just starting out a little bit, Enrique has said that I'm a Bronco alum, so very excited and very proud to be part of the Cal Poly Pomona school. I graduated all the way back. I kind of hate to say this, but I will. I graduated back in 1985 and have essentially been here with the city of LA in LA Sanitation and Environment since then. A few very short stops at the beginning of my career, but by far the most of my years have been here in the best place within the city of LA, and that's LA San. We do so much fantastic work here. It's very exciting. And I'm going to be focusing on what we call our clean water program and talking about recycled water. We have 4 water reclamation plants in the city of Los Angeles. Kimia's video on our membrane bioreactor pilot is taking place at Hyperion. Hyperion is down by the ocean, very close to LAX airport. Some of you might see it. If you're up on a plane, you'll see Hyperion just to the south of the airport there. It is the largest treatment plant west of the Mississippi, 7th largest in the world. So we do a lot of wastewater treatment here. Let me back up and talk about, I'll save Hyperion towards the end of this discussion here, because I want to talk about a lot of the work that we do at the 3 other water reclamation plants that we have. Terminal Island Water Reclamation Plant down in the harbor area was our first plant to advance treat water. So those of you civil engineering students who have taken some of the water treatment classes, you might recall it makes a lot of sense when we talk about treatment. We talk about preliminary and primary treatment, which gives you the first water quality in the treatment process. And then we talk about secondary treatment, and then we talk about tertiary, and then advanced treatment. So when you get to advanced treatment, that water is as pure can be. It's purer than tap water. And this is what we do at Terminal Island. This plant has been on line since the 90s, one of the very, very first plants across the country and even in the world that produces this very high quality water. That water right now is used as a seawater intrusion barrier. So in essence, what's done is that it's injected into deep wells and used there to prevent the seawater from intruding into the groundwater aquifer, when the water is drawn up. So that's what's happening down at Terminal Island. Then you get all the way up into the San Fernando Valley, where we have our Tillman water reclamation plant. We've got a great project going on right now. We currently are soliciting proposers for another advanced treatment project that will be starting within the next year. Very, very exciting. Again, a lot of new technologies have come into play that will be showcased as part of our Tillman project. We also have our Los Angeles Glendale water reclamation plant, and we've got some great projects going on there. We're going to be doing a demonstration facility at Los Angeles Glendale with this great water feature. We'd love to show you some renderings of that community showcase piece that we'll be doing there within the next couple of years as well. And then Hyperion. The mayor in 2019 had a huge press event and announcement as part of his Green New Deal that the city would be going to 100% water recycling. Hyperion currently treats a small amount of water for recycling purposes, but the large piece of this is going to be happening as part of our Hyperion 2035 program. We're very excited about it. Kimia's video talked about a new technology, membrane bioreactor technology, that will be, we are looking at utilizing as part of advanced treatment at Hyperion. The pilot is under construction right now. We'll be collecting a lot of data. We'll be working very closely with the regulatory agencies to make sure that the water quality will meet all of the regulations and the permit requirements. Along with that, so we have our pilot going on. We also have construction going on right now for an advanced water purification facility as a proof of concept. So this is a project that we're going to be producing water that can be used at the LA airports. So the goal there is to complete that project by the end of 2022. We'll be using that water at LAX and also within the treatment plant at Hyperion itself. So there's a lot going on. Very exciting time for us. I love wastewater treatment. My master's was over at Loyola Marymount in environmental civil engineering. And so that gave me the taste of process engineering and process treatment, which to me is fascinating. And if you do come to work for the city of LA and LA Sanitation, the clean water component is where you get into all of this treatment. It's very exciting work going on. Enrique had also talked about, and I know we're focusing on recycled water just for this segment, but I wanted to put in a plug for all of the other programs that Enrique mentioned in his introduction, because there's so much more that we do in LA Sanitation in addition to our clean water program. We also have our solid resources program, where we do so much, and we're so much on the cutting edge here about, hey, how do we get to zero waste? How do we reduce what we send to the landfill? Technologies that will get us from waste to energy, technologies that will be producing more renewable energy, get us off of this emissions, right? We have so much here that's causing the climate change that we need to really start thinking differently and implementing some new technologies. So you see a lot of that going on our solid resources side of the program. We also have our watershed protection, which is our program that Enrique mentioned in dealing with stormwater quality. Doug and Adrian talked about it as well. So what do we do now that we've made so much progress on the wastewater side and improving the water quality on the wastewater side? What do we do to improve the water quality on our stormwater side? A huge component there that is going on with a new program that we are kicking off. Michael Scaduto is here, and he'll be talking a little bit about some of the work that we do there. And then, of course, there's livability, and we all understand the situation right now with what needs to be done with our unsheltered population, and how do we make sure that public health is preserved, and how do we make sure that we we keep the area, keep the city clean, and protect that public health mission that we have within sanitation. So also a huge component of our program. I did just want to spend a little bit of time talking about, what as students at Cal Poly, as engineering students, I know you're all in various levels of completion of your program, but just a few words that I might share with you in what I'm thinking about what keeps you going, right? And really what I've said in other times when I've talked, it's about finding your passion. It's about knowing what it is that really interests you, because as you move into your career, that's what's going to keep you going, and that's what's going to keep you motivated. So hopefully you've all found that in whatever discipline in engineering that you've decided to focus on, but really dig deep and see if that passion is there. And that is what's really going to get you off the ground and running when you get into the working environment and you start your career. It's what has really motivated me and kept me going. It's just that I love the work that I do. And so much of what we do in sanitation just fits right in with the core of making that difference and feeling like I'm contributing to protecting the environment and making the world a better place. So keep that in mind. Another thing that I would want to mention, because Pam told me, she gave me a bunch of bullets about what I should touch on, and one of them was any key words of wisdom or advice. So another item that I want to talk about is as engineers, we're all very technical, right? All the classes, I remember it very technical, all of these homework problems that need to be done, all these labs and these projects and all these assignments. It really gives us that kind of discipline, and it keeps us structured, and it keeps us thinking along very technical lines. But keep in mind also that in your career as an engineer, that's not what it's all about. Of course, that's a huge component, but also think about the softer side, right? Think about your communication skills. Think about your oral presentation and your writing skills, and develop those as well. That, along with teamwork, is a huge part of what you will be doing every day in your working field. Teamwork is the way things get done, and being able to work with partners and being able to communicate and share in accomplishments is something that's critical. So just keep those in mind. I think that with that overall broad perspective of how to approach your everyday work, it will really help you be successful. And we really look forward to doing some hiring. We're getting past a lot of this financial stress that we've had, and things are really looking positive. We're anxious to get out there and do our recruiting. I know some of you we may have interviewed for student engineers as part of a student engineering program that we still want to get off the ground. So hopefully that's not too far out in the future, but we're very excited about bringing on some student engineers, as well as working on kicking off a rotation program for our new associate engineers. So that's something definitely Doug and Adrian have helped in planning. We got to wait for the right timing, but definitely that is on our slate for things to do. We see that as a great benefit for the new engineers coming in, because sanitation, we are a department of almost 3,500 people. Engineers are a big component of that. And so just within LASAN, there's a lot of variety in the type of work that engineers can do. So a rotation program will be something great that would provide the opportunity for the new young professionals coming in to see what the breadth is of our department. So thank you for giving me the few minutes this afternoon. It's great to see everybody, and great to come back to my roots.
Thank you so much, Tracy, for being here. You know, I'm not an engineer by trade, but every time I hear her speak, I just have that inspiration inside me, this excitement to go out and do something great after hearing her words. I want to introduce next Michael Scaduto. He is our acting division manager over the Watershed Protection Division, and he's going to tell you a little bit about the Safe Clean Water program. I'm sorry, a little bit about our lid counter and the experiences there. And he also has with him Eileen Ramirez, who I believe is also a proud Bronco, and she'll be telling you about the Safe Clean Water program. Michael, take it away.
Thank you, Pam. Good morning, everybody. I had to bring Eileen with me because I quickly realized as I was prepping for this, it's been 19 years since I've left the campus, and maybe there was a little bit of a disconnect with this generation. So I wanted to bring on one of our young engineers, and Eileen's really good at that, bridging that gap. But quickly about me, I graduated in 2002 from Cal Poly Pomona in the civil engineering department in the focus of environmental engineering. And I knew I always wanted to deal with water. I just didn't know what that entailed. So I charted my path. I wasn't a in and out person. It took me 6 years to graduate. So if there's anybody that's listening, don't get discouraged. You will persevere and you will make it through. And then you'll look back and it'll be a quick blimp. You won't even recognize it was 6 years. But I've been with the city and sanitation for 19 years. I had a brief stint with LA County Sanitation. And then I quickly realized that that was not the place for me to be. This was my home, and I've never looked back, and I've never regretted it. So this is it's almost like a second family to me. But to kind of piggyback on some of the experiences I have with the city, started out as a young engineer, really working on single task. And at the time, the stormwater program was relatively new. And I'm going to attribute the results to the earlier poll of watershed protection only getting 15% because we don't know what watershed protection does. So I hope we can take the poll afterwards and then everybody's going to want to jump ship and come over to me. But so we do stormwater management. And at the time, the program was really young, not a lot of funds or money put into it. So one of my first tasks was to do a lot of grant writing. And they said, we got these projects. We got to figure out how we're going to pay for them. So that was my first task, and it really honed in. It seems like everybody is getting the emergency alert. But so the technical writing was something I really focused on early in my career, and it's proven well for me. It's helped me with a lot of different endeavors. But I quickly grew into managing a program, and Enrique and Tracy both alluded to the low impact development program. And that's where we ensure that the private development does their part to retain and clean their stormwater before it leaves the site. And it's been really rewarding to see private development throughout the city. As an engineer, you get to see the plans before it's even built. And when a couple of years later, you get to drive around town and see that that project that you worked on is actually part of the landscape of LA now. You know, a couple of key projects that I had the chance to work on were the Lucas Museum. That's something that's being built right behind the Coliseum right now, the LA football stadium, the new soccer stadium that was built, and then also the Wilshire Grand. And you know, those are big staples that are part of the city of LA's landscape that I had a chance to work on. And I think as a young engineer coming into the city, you would also have that opportunity. But it's 19 years is a long time, and I've been able to promote up to now managing the Safe Clean Water program, which is really an exciting time in our program because we finally have dedicated money to do all the stormwater projects we need. When I first started, our budget for the program was $30 million. And now with the Safe Clean Water program, there's over $380 million generated for stormwater in LA County. And the city of LA being the largest municipality in that, we are receiving about $100 million a year to do our projects now. And so there is a lot of work, a lot of young engineers that we need to bridge that gap. And then I think we're really looking forward to seeing you guys come and join our team. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Eileen, who'll give a little bit perspective from her side.
Hi, everyone. It's good to be here. Happy Earth Day. My name is Eileen Ramirez, and I graduated from Cal Poly Pomona's Civil Engineering Master's Program with an emphasis in environmental water resources in the spring of 2019. Before graduating, I was actually able to secure a job offer from LASAN through the on-campus interviews. I'm happily now an environmental engineering associate for the Safe Clean Water program, where we carry out projects to increase stormwater capture and reduce stormwater pollution. Since graduating, my main purpose at work has been to create stormwater projects on a regional and municipal level. So in general, the Safe Clean Water is a multi-benefit stormwater-based program with the goals of improving water quality, increasing water supply, prioritizing nature-based solutions, and providing benefits to underserved communities. We're also responsible for implementing green infrastructure alleys and corridors and providing operation and maintenance for existing projects. We work with other agencies to develop and implement projects. Working at LASAN, I've learned that implementing stormwater projects requires teamwork, knowledge of hydrology, hydraulics, and water treatment. And looking back, I'm actually very fortunate to have gone through Cal Poly's master's program, because the extensive amount of group projects and presentation, especially in the hydrology and water wastewater treatment courses, really helped me transition easily into my current job. And my wonderful senior management has taught me how to effectively capture large volumes of stormwater and infiltrate it using dry wells, bioswales, and underground storage tanks. I've learned the different aspects of groundwater basins, and my supervisors and obviously my great team members at work have helped me create projects to recharge those basins. I also, something I really like doing is going on site visits. Site visits happen at the very early stages of the project. You really get to see firsthand the project site and examine things such as the street conditions, sidewalks, and it gives you like a big picture idea of what truly is feasible for your project, and you get to problem solve out in the field and bounce ideas with your coworkers to make really cool projects. So far, I've gained valuable experience in stormwater construction, groundwater recharge, volume capture and water reuse, some permitting experience, and of course, environmental policy. So since 2019, I've learned so much, and I really owe it to my LASAN family and of course, Cal Poly professors. I'm super grateful being at LASAN, and it's just a great place to work with lots of supportive and wonderful people. Thank you so much for having me today, everyone, and happy Earth Day.
Eileen, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I'm sure the students can really resonate with the things that you're saying, and we're so thrilled to have you here with us at LASAN. Before we move on to Blanca, I'd like to put up another poll. Chelsea, if you don't mind, we want to get a feel for when everybody's graduating. This is just so I know how many resumes to expect in the inbox. Wow, looks like half of you are about to cross the finish line. Congratulations. Okay, that gives us a pretty good idea. Thank you for answering that for us. All right, next, it's my pleasure to introduce my friend Blanca Calderon. She is our Government Affairs Liaison and actually started out with us in the Financial Management Division. Blanca, the floor is yours.
Hi, Pam. Can you put up the presentation, please? Thank you. Welcome, everybody. My name is Blanca. I work for LA Sanitation, and my current position is Government Affairs Representative. Next slide, please. I'm going to explain government affairs is not a typical title that engineers carry, but it's very important that we do carry it because we are the bridge between sanitation and the city of Los Angeles's government. The government, being the mayor, the city council, and the Board of Public Works, are entities that supply the funding for our projects. I provide the connection between us so that we're able to obtain funding for all of our projects. My duties entail meeting with the council districts to introduce our projects. Council districts are sections within the city of Los Angeles in which we divide so that we could have a representative, which is a councilman or councilwoman, and I work with them to introduce a project that's going to happen within that location. I also get to work with the city council committees, which is composed of 5 district council members, and they get to review the project at an extent and ask all of the questions to see if this is going to be a very beneficial project. Beneficial meaning if it'll really help the community, not just aesthetically, but actually efficiently, and it'll just bring a better environmental cause for it. We do get to work with city council at the end, where it's composed of all of the council members, and they get to approve the project in total for financial approval, and then it goes to the mayor, and then the mayor will approve it for the funds. This is a project that I got to work with last year. It was a project located out in Council District 6 and Council District 2. So the Lancashire project consists of removing the center median to install dry wells. A dry well is located in the picture at the bottom with the baby blue pipes that you can see. Those dry wells basically collect water from the runoff through the catch basin, and it goes through a filtration, and then it's transferred over to the other dry wells, and it goes into, it filters into the soil, so it infiltrates. Next, please. This is a more zoomed in picture of what happens. So we went out to go see a testing. The water goes into the catch basin, and then it enters the dry well. The dry well has a filtration system, and then it passes over to the other dry wells, and then it seeps into the soil. Next, please. So our project went in around August, and we spoke about the project from the beginning, how we wanted to get it done. And after we went through all of the approvals, it was not approved up until recently, which was 7 months later. And it may seem like it's a very long time, but there are a lot of hoops we have to jump through to obtain approval for these projects. Next, please. Another type of project that we obtain are through grants. So we applied to the California Natural Resources Agency for a grant of $2.2 million. This was to get 500 trees planted. We had to remove, the cost estimate includes the removal of concrete. We're going to provide water for the trees, the installation, and for future operation and maintenance. So we were able to obtain this grant through our division of the grants. We have a group, and they do the application. Once we obtain the funding, we are able to hire people to go out there and actually plant the trees. As you can see, this is the more environmentally friendly aspect of our job. It's not just wastewater, it's not just solids, it's actually helping the environment in other ways, and in many ways that we can. Next, please. This project was approved a year later. So the project had been introduced in January of 2020, and it took a very long time. We had to get the grant accepted. We had to front fund everything, get everything paid for, and then finally get the grant. However, the application process took a little bit longer, and the approval took a lot longer than we had expected, but we were able to finally get the 500 trees. We also get to do public education. So this is an event that we hosted with the firefighters and with the Board of Public Works, and this was with Council District 15, which is Wilmington. We got to do this area in Watts where we got to film how to recycle your trees. A lot of trees are thrown away in the trash immediately after Christmas is over, and some people even take them and they incinerate them. So to create a much more environmentally friendly environment in the city of Watts, we decided to do an educational video, and so we got to film this to show them how to break down the tree and put it in our green bin, or they could just go and drop it off at a fire station. I got to participate in this networking and recruitment event with Cal Poly Pomona. I got to plan with Carrie and with the dean. We were able to recruit successfully student interns and both full-time employees. So it was a very successful event. Part of the best things about my job is being able to work with other companies that are outside of sanitation, and this being Our Planet. Our Planet is a company that restores basic recycled bottles. They get all of the bottles that we throw away in recycling. They basically clean, wash, break down all of the plastics, and it turns into the washed flake that you see in the picture there. Afterwards, they heat it and they restore it into 3 different items. They either create a cup, or they create the fruit container, the one where you can buy strawberries. They have holes in them. And lastly, they create plastic wrap for food as well. So it's a very successful company, and we got to work with them and really learn how, you know, our recycling, it doesn't just end where we just pick up your recycling bin. We carry it throughout to make sure that this is actually recycled all the way through. So it's a very exciting part of my job where I get to see it fully complete. And overall, I think the most exciting part of my job is that every day is very different. I get to engage with different people. I get to use all of my skills. I get to meet and network with students, with companies, with any outside entities. And overall, it just helps me grow socially and just gains me so much knowledge. And I really appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blanca. You know, Blanca is really being very humble. She hasn't made her job sound quite as large and grand as it really is. Anything that needs to go through our city government process is running through Blanca. All 26 of our divisions are calling on her. All 8 of our executives are calling on her. The council officers and the Board of Public Works are calling on her. We're all kind of pointing at her. She and I are very lucky that we get to move around through all of the divisions in the organization and kind of be able to touch a little bit on everything that we do, which is really exciting. It's a fun position. So thank you, Blanca, for sharing all of that. I know we're running short of time. We're down to 8 minutes. I want to really quickly put up one last poll for you. And then we are going to start working down the Q&A list. I'm sorry, down the chat that we've got here. So I'm going to scroll up through my chat while you guys answer that question. Whoever says no will be immediately ejected from the program. Just kidding. Just kidding. You can stay. It's all right. You guys are making me feel really good on Earth Day. 97% yes, that's what we want to hear. You'll get to meet her soon, but Deandra Ortiz is here. She's the chair of our Project Green leadership team, which means she's running the campus recruitment efforts for the engineering program. So Deandra, your inbox is going to fill up. Get ready. Okay, I'm scrolling through these questions here, and let's see, the very first one. Does LA Sanitation cover the city of LA or the county as well? Tracy, do you want to take that?
We are only the city of LA, which is a big portion of the county.
And our contract agencies?
That's right. And we also service on the wastewater side our contract agencies, which are a lot of our neighboring cities. They don't actually have wastewater water reclamation plants within their own service area. So their wastewater comes into the city's wastewater collection system, and then it goes through our treatment plants. So that's what we mean by contract city or contract agency.
Thank you, Tracy. Deandra, I'm going to call on you for this one. For being employed for LA Sanitation or for internship, is it required for engineers to take the FE exam or some other exam to qualify for employment?
You do not have to take the EIT or the FE exam to qualify for employment, but once you are hired, you do have to have it within 2 to 3 years. So definitely not required. I think did the question include student engineers? If it was for students specifically, you are definitely not required to take the exam to be a student engineer.
Thank you, Deandra. Okay, next question. Graduated as a chemical engineer and I'm currently doing my master's degree. How can I apply for chemical engineering or environmental engineering entry-level jobs? Deandra, also you. How to apply for our entry-level positions, and are we hiring soon?
We unfortunately are in a hard hiring freeze due to the economic downturn due to COVID. However, we hope to be able to hire again soon. Typically, you would apply through our on-campus recruitment program. We do target universities. Cal Poly Pomona, of course, is one of the universities that we connect with, and you would apply through Handshake.
Thank you, Deandra. Are there opportunities to be able to earn my master's degree while employed at LASAN? Adrian?
Hi, everyone. Yes, we do have a tuition reimbursement program, so we would be excited to assist you with your academic endeavors after you become employed with us, of course.
Thank you, Adrian. That's a good caveat. Tracy, I think this one is for you. Has LASAN looked into engineered biochar as a cheaper and more renewable alternative for water treatment?
We have looked at, we have considered and looked and are starting to look more into that. Biochar, I guess I kind of see it two places. One, it can be used as like a carbon source for carbon adsorption as one of our treatment processes. And that means that it's a eco-friendly versus any other kind of artificial filtration or adsorption media. The other is biochar used as a fuel source, and that also is a possibility. What we do right now is in part of our treatment process, we actually produce methane gas as a renewable energy through our digestion system. So at Hyperion, if you ever come down to a tour or at Terminal Island, you will see our anaerobic digesters there. And what we're doing is we're taking in the solids portion of the water treatment, putting it through our anaerobic digesters, and as part of that process, we're generating methane gas, which at Hyperion is used to actually generate electricity to run the plant itself.
Thank you so much, Tracy. We have a lot of questions here, folks. I love how interested and engaged you all are, and I wish we could sit here all afternoon and answer all of them, but unfortunately we can't. So what I want to leave you with is a couple of things. Chelsea, would you mind putting up the flyer? We've created these engineering tech talks, LASAN tech talks. This is the engineering series. We'll also have an IT series coming out. So these are going to be held next week from 12 to 1 p.m. And, you know, we're going to give these presentations on these topics. And then on May 4th, we have this special Ask an Engineer session where you can just come in. We'll have 10, maybe 15 of our engineers. We'll break out into breakout groups. And you can just kind of run at it and ask them whatever you'd like to ask them about our programs. We're going to, of course, have our PGL folks with us too to answer some hiring questions. So I really hope that you can join us for that. And I'm going to pop this link into the chat for you so that you can register. I also want to share the link with you. As Tracy alluded, we were featured on the Today Show this morning about our recycled water goals. So here's the link so that you can watch that when we're done here. And we'll also be, we just found out we'll be on CNBC at 4 p.m. today. We'll be on MSNBC at 5 p.m. today. And during Infrastructure Week, you'll see us on a longer 10-minute segment on the Peacock Network on Jacob Soboroff's Street Level USA show. So lots more to see. With that, I would like to return the spotlight to Enrique to give us his closing words of wisdom.
Thank you, Pam. There's a reason why you're our marketing manager.
Thank you.
Well, students, fellow Broncos, I hope you enjoyed LA San's virtual tour. But most importantly, I hope we were able to inspire you to see the world of opportunity that awaits you to make a meaningful impact in the quality of life of our city through your work as an environmental engineer, chemical engineer. I even saw some mechanical engineers, and of course, civil engineers. You will notice that I am proudly wearing my Cal Poly Pomona Engineering Hall of Fame blazer. See if you see on here. With this, I'm trying to show you that I share in our pride to be a Bronco for life. See you soon, and go Broncos.
Thank you. Thank you, students. Have a wonderful afternoon. I will be sending a follow-up email with a recording and materials, so keep an eye out for that. And also, we have another series, let's see, let me look at the date real quick. We're having Somas and Northrop Grumman, who will be presenting on May 6th and 7th, and we will be sending out an email invite and registration information soon. So we welcome you back to the series then. Thank you so much.